This episode of Lawyers Tell All is brought to you by Law Firm Conversions. If your law firm's phone is ringing, that only means your marketing is successful. It's what happens when the phone is answered that will drive your success or failure. Visit www.intakeacademy.com and claim your free copy of Chris Mullen's groundbreaking book for lawyers and law firms that gets every call converting to become a profitable client, showing you the steps you need to take to ensure the right person is answering the phone and answering it correctly. Welcome to the Lawyers Tell All podcast, where Chris Mullins, the preeminent sales and communications consultant in the legal industry, shows you how it looks through lawyers' eyes. Here, innovators in the trenches provide powerful insights that help you connect with new clients, handle the sometimes harsh realities of the legal profession, and embrace the mindsets needed to succeed. Be sure to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, lean in, tune in, and let's take a deep dive.
Hello, everyone. It's Chris Mullins with Lawyers Tell All. And today I'm going to be interviewing a good friend of mine, Josh Konigsberg, with Law Firm Marketing Pros. Is that right, Josh?
That is correct, Chris.
Awesome. So tell everybody about yourself.
First of all, thanks for inviting me on the podcast. Super excited to be here today. This is great. So my name is Josh Konigsberg. I'm co-founder and partner of Law Firm Marketing Pros. We've been in business for 13 years, providing digital marketing services for lawyers, specifically pivoting only to servicing lawyers effective January 2020, just 10 weeks before COVID. So prior to that, we had a generalist agency, which we still have, but we just don't accept any new clients in it, servicing some clients since day one. So interestingly, our first client was my family law attorney who got me full custody of my two children. So when I met with her, so when I met with her, it was really funny. She's the first person I talked to when we decided to start to do this. And she said, "Oh my God, I know all about this. I just don't have time to do it. Yes, I want to." And she wrote me a check on the spot. It was great. Yeah.
Awesome. So you didn't always do just law firms.
Correct. That's right.
Wow. Okay.
Well, our first client was a lawyer, right?
Yeah. Great. Awesome. That is wonderful. So let me ask you, I'm just going to ask you this question. What got you to say, you know what, let's just focus on attorneys?
That's a great question, Chris. Thanks for asking that. So we realized in the summer of 2019 that we probably needed to pivot into a niche because the content creation, and because content is king at the end of the day. So the content creation for a niche would be is more scalable if you're focused, right? So even within law, we focus even deeper into specific areas of law.
Right.
So we stumbled upon this group called Seven Figure Agency. Over my shoulder, you'll see a logo. I'm actually a mentor to Seven Figure Agency members. There's about 300 agencies worldwide and growing. And the first thing they say when you join the group is you have to pick a niche. So for us, it was pretty easy because about 50% of our clients in our legacy agency were attorneys.
Okay.
So that was a pretty easy decision. And what I found over the years was attorneys, because they're used to making referrals to one another, it was easy for them to make referrals to us. So when so if you're, for example, my family law lawyer, if I happened to get in a car accident and I needed a personal injury attorney, I might call her and say, "Hey, do you know a good personal injury attorney?" And she would make a referral to somebody, right? So that made it a lot easier to make the decision.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. All right. And so now your book, let's just talk a little bit about your book. And the name of your book is?
Law Firm Digital Marketing Made Easy, the only book you'll ever need to become a best-known attorney. Yep.
Right, exactly. And it's on Amazon, so everybody can get it there. No problem, right? Okay. What got you to decide to write the book?
So at the end of the day, first and foremost, let me say that, as we all know, law is a hyper competitive market, both for lawyers. Just drive up and down a major highway. How many billboards are you going to see, right?
Mhm.
For personal injury attorneys.
Mhm.
And even in other areas, it's hyper competitive. So digital marketing for lawyers is also hyper competitive.
Yeah.
So, there's two things that make you the expert. Either you're standing up in front of the room talking to them at a
Mhm.
bar event or some other type of convention, right? Or
Mhm.
you wrote the book. So my first step was, it was easier for me to write a book than it was to get in front of a group, right? And I've actually spoken at the Palm Beach. It's funny, just 2 weeks before COVID, I was the speaker at the Palm Beach County Bar, and
Right.
for small law firms was what was the topic, marketing for small law firms, and it was standing room only. And then a lot of people wanted to talk to me. A lot of people were interested, and the next thing you know, COVID hits and everything shuts down, right? So,
Right. Right. Yeah.
interestingly enough, we launched, like I said, 10 weeks before COVID. We 5x our growth in the first 3 years since COVID.
Okay. Wonderful. Awesome. Okay. And so before I ask you a couple questions about the book, well, actually, one of the things I wanted to ask you is what sets, because like you just said, the competition, there's a lot of competition with digital marketing. I mean,
Yes.
it's everywhere. And I focus on law firms too. So I see it everywhere for law firms. And it seems like there's a lot of businesses like that. They just keep popping up. A lot of people don't last because you don't hear from them anymore. But I see a lot of them popping up. But then there's the bigger organizations like yours. So what sets you folks apart from all the rest?
So our team.
Mm-hmm.
So just like in sports, when you build a winning team, it's the team from the top down. And I'm not going to take credit for it. It's the team around me. Oftentimes, I get on a Zoom meeting. I'm the dumbest guy in the room. When you've got these high-end computer programming engineers, my two partners are engineers. So it's the team. My leadership team is just absolutely tremendous. The quality people that we've been able to find, and COVID, I'll thank COVID for some of that, because we can now work remotely rather than having everybody, try to find people locally. That quality people.
Yeah.
I've got people all over, I don't want to say all over the country, but my pay-per-click manager is in Iowa. My social media manager is in Maryland. So that just kind of made it easier to find top quality content. I'd say that probably 40% of our staff is South Florida though.
Okay. All right. So you have a strong team. Now, in your book, you talk.
And then results, Chris. So here's one of the other things I find.
Mhm.
That many of the startups, they use white label service providers. And I'm not going to bash white label service providers. And we've touched on that a little bit over the years, kind of dipped our toe in to test it, did some A/B testing as you do in marketing.
Mhm.
And when you're in control of the results, you get, in my opinion, you get better results. So our content team is all in-house.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So the fulfillment of the services has to be top notch, right? And let me just go down a little rabbit hole. For example, we have this reputation marketing program, and it's not reputation management, it's reputation marketing. And the difference between the two is reputation management is reactive, reputation marketing is proactive. It's creating a great reputation and making it go viral, right? So our reputation marketing program is by far and I've been looking at these for 7 and 8 years and look at everything that comes down the pike, is by far the best one out there for multiple reasons that I won't get into today. But what is the value of having the best reputation in your market for what you do as an attorney? What's the value of that? It's invaluable, right? So consumer behavior has shifted. We all know that consumers are paying more attention to reviews, and having a great reputation is actually more than that, but that's a deeper conversation. So the other way I'll position it is that a lot of attorneys don't really think about their reputation until it's a problem. So our goal is to get in front of it and create a real online reputation, having your clients make that reputation, facilitate them making it go viral. So everywhere your potential customer looks, they see and read great things about you. And to me, that's invaluable.
So it makes me wonder, like, I would imagine that because of everything that you just said, that the managing partners, for example, they're taking an even closer look at how they're handling and taking care of clients, and then realizing, oh, wow, we're not doing as great as I thought. And so now, as a result of your influence and your team and your strengths, they're like, we got to go fix this. So now they're doing even better in areas that they didn't even think were going to matter.
Yes, that's correct. So I'll tell you a quick story. Longtime client, he was with us for 11 years.
Mhm.
He just retired early because of the results that we got for him. God
Oh,
bless
wow.
him.
Yeah.
But when we met him, and I'm going back to, 8 years ago, right?
Mhm.
His online reputation on Google was 2.4 stars. Now, how many people that, again, consumer behaviors changed over time. So today it's a lot more evident. But back then, how many potential conversions did he lose because of that, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
we implemented our top rated law firm program and improved him. But he had 8 attorneys working for him.
Mhm.
He fired half of them.
Mhm. Okay.
After he started seeing the reviews that we were generating for him internally. So we have an internal and external program. So think of it like an internal survey. So before it becomes public, right, you can see what's going on. So he cut his staff by 50% because of the feedback he was getting from the clients. So it's a powerful management tool, is my point.
Right. So he took a really good look at it as a result of beginning the relationship with you. He actually took action. He didn't stick
Yes.
his head in the sand. He didn't look the other way, and he did
Right.
something about it. So that makes a big difference, right?
Right.
Okay. So I think your book says something about take your life back.
Yes.
Tell me about
Yeah.
that.
So when you have a good marketing system, this is the part of the problem also that I see with the earlier question that you asked about other agency, what sets us apart.
Mhm.
So what we've learned over time is as the consumer behavior has changed, I'm going to give you a couple examples of this. So as consumer behavior has changed and shifted, you have to shift with it. Right?
Mhm.
You have to continue to evolve as an agency providing services for, it doesn't matter whether they're attorneys or plumbers or plastic surgeons, right? You need to continue. So what we learned was 50% of people 5 or 6 years ago, something like 50% of people that went to a website took an action. So what was the action that they took? They either picked up the phone and called, they filled out a chat bot or a lead gen form, 50%. Now it's less than 3%. How is that even possible? What is happening? So what was happening was they'd go to your website, take the action and leave, right? Now what they're doing is they're going to your website, they're going to YouTube to watch a video, they read reviews, they look at your social media, they hit a retargeting, they go back to your website, maybe go back and read some more reviews, maybe they'll see an Avo or a Justia or lawyers.com review. So they're all over the map, so to speak, right? So if we look at consumer behavior today, the first thing someone does when they need a product or service, don't have a referral, what do? They go online. And if they go online, where are they going? They're going to Google. So it's going to start there. Now, if they've got a referral, we all know that a referral is going to convert a lot easier, but they're still going online to check you out, right? Even with the referral, they've received your business card from someone else, right? Someone gets divorced, the neighbor decides they want a divorce. Oh, you have to call my attorney. They were fantastic, right?
Right.
So what we realized was you couldn't just do pay-per-click. You couldn't just do Google Maps, which is now called Google Business Profile. You couldn't just do social media. In order to capture as many conversions as possible, and at this level, I'm going to call a conversion, they've taken an action, right? They've called, right? And that's getting them to your website. So until to get as many of those as possible, you need to create an online omnipresence. So everywhere they look, they see you, right?
Right. Yeah.
Used to be 7 touches. The rule of thumb in advertising was 7 touches for any recollection.
Right.
Now it's 21, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Now it's 21.
Mhm.
So what we realized over time is, you know what, we really need to create a system. And so that's what we did. We created something called the law firm client generation system. And I talk about that in the book. So that the system, and the beautiful thing about the system is it's designed to be modular. So I'll go back, before we had the system, it was a la carte. You just want social media, we'll do social media. You just want SEO, we'll do SEO.
Right.
You just want a website, we'll do a website. The problem with that is you're not getting consistent results,
Right.
meaning you're not getting consistent qualified leads that are easily convertible to clients, week over week, month over month, year over year. So within the law firm client generation system, it's designed to be somewhat modular, so that if you're a one person, let's say bankruptcy firm, I've got a program for you. Or if you're our largest client is a 7-partner, 20-something associate, 150 employee PI firm. So we have everything in between.
But it makes a lot more sense though for you to do everything, because first off, that's what works, right? And you learned it, so you just changed it. And if you weren't doing what works, then they're not really going to stay with you. They're going to look for the butcher, baker, and the candlestick maker. And that's not going to work either, right?
We call that agency churn and shiny object syndrome, right? So
right,
there's a lot of what I'll call deficiency marketing. They'll create some report. The report's always slanted negative. I've seen reports come across with misinformation intentionally entered into the report to give negative results, to put us in a negative light.
Right.
Yeah, we get that all the time. But more specifically, to answer your question, I wish everybody could do everything, but we have budgetary constraints. All of us have budgetary constraints, right? So that if you're a solo practitioner, I want to be able to offer something where I can nurture them and develop them into a larger firm, if that's what they want, right? If they want to actually grow. So I've got a couple clients that are legacy, what we're currently going to call legacy agency clients, that we moved over into law firm marketing pros, and they're small and they don't want to get any bigger. They're happy with where they are, and if that's fine. So what I try to do is accommodate that within. We have our limitations too. There's only so much I can do, and I'm going to tell you, I can't help you. Geez, you only have $1,000 a month for a marketing budget. I can't help you. And that brings up another interesting point, Chris, that attorneys don't learn or aren't taught anything about marketing. And as you know, this part of the intake that you do at Intake Academy is marketing. That's the final component to get them into a case, right? So they're not taught anything, and they spend 0 hours in law school studying marketing. And what I've learned, and you've probably seen this as well. So as a result, they come out of law school, they pass the bar, and they work for another law firm, generally 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? They don't make partner, they get frustrated. You know what? I'm going to go off on my own.
Right.
And I just signed up a new client after 13 years, decided, you know what, I'm going to go off on my own. And he had saved a lot of money so he could go off on his own, because he knew he wanted to hit the ground running with his marketing, right? So they go out, they put up their shingle, they've got their law office, they've got friends and family, they're networking, they join their BNI groups or the NPI groups. They go to every cocktail hour and breakfast meeting, and right, that's what I see. And so that what happens is they start to get busy from referrals, and referrals are generally come and go, right? They're sporadic. So, but they get busy. The busier they get, the less time they have to network, right? The less time they have to network, the leads drop off, right? Then they get busy again and they hustle. And so their cash flow as a result of their lead generation looks like a sonogram. And really what they want it to look like is an inverted ski slope, right? And that's what we do, because the internet's omnipresent.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody's there all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
As long as I can create your omnipresence and put you in, and we didn't even get into a category of one. I want to put the attorneys in a category of one. So the decision, let me describe what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Category one means this. On almost every single business transaction we have as a consumer, we have four choices. I can choose to do business with you. I can choose to do business with your competitor. I can go pro se and try to do it myself. Ugh. Or I can stay in a crappy marriage and do nothing at all, right?
Yeah. Right. Right.
Anybody that's been divorced has probably tried that route,
Right. Right. Right.
So with those four options we have as consumers, I want to put our clients in a category of one so the decision is clear. So they're omnipresent and they're everywhere, and the decision is absolutely clear. I have to do business with this attorney. Choosing anyone else would be a mistake.
Right. Exactly. 100%. 100%. I want to rewind about something because I think it's really, really important when I talked about what sets you apart. And so you said your team. So talk a little bit more about that, because I think one of the biggest challenges is that just because there's a lot of people out there doing marketing, and maybe some of them know what they're doing and maybe some of them don't, but at the end of the day, if your team is not responsive to your clients, if it doesn't initiate the relationship, it doesn't stay in touch with them, if the service is terrible, like if we do a great job selling everything that we do and then we sign up, but the service is just not what we thought it was going to be, that's where it's really bad. So just get a little bit more involved in, like, if I'm your client, what can I expect from that relationship?
So the most important thing, once we onboard, we have a fairly expensive onboarding process. The most important thing is to start to get your wins as soon as possible. And what do I mean by wins? Quality leads that you can convert. So that's the first thing that we do. And we do that ASAP. And generally speaking, we're going to have the phone ringing is somewhere between 45 to 60, maybe 75 days. The delays usually are caused on the part of the clients not being as responsive enough on the work that we need to do to get it done. But generally speaking, it's going to be about 60 days, sometimes faster. So, and then so how's the client going to feel once we're getting them wins that are going to love it, right? So we have a 4-stage process, which is called crawl, walk, run, fly. You've got to crawl at first, regardless of what the budget is. We're still crawling because we're redesigning the website, right? We're implementing paid ads, and we're redoing all the landing pages to what we know are properly conversion optimized landing pages for people. We're implementing the social media program. We're working on retargeting and some video stuff. And by the way, we don't do the video, but we'll take the video and we'll give prompts to the client to create some short form video, right? So as we're doing that, they're getting more and more quality leads coming in that they can convert. So I wish I could say each stage of crawl, walk, run, fly were 3 months, but there are certain things that happen out of our control. I was going to say conditions, but there are things that are out of our control. What's out of our control? Well, we've all heard Google algorithmic updates. That's the big thing that's out of our control. And I like to analogize it for attorneys like this. Look, they just changed the law. The bar just changed the law in estate planning. They didn't tell you they were changing it. They didn't tell you what the change was.
Right.
They don't tell you what to do to fix it. We have to go figure that out. Fortunately, we're involved in this group of 300 plus agencies worldwide where we collaborate together and share information as we're figuring out. Again, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So that's the first thing. The second thing is search volume. So we're seeing a dip pretty much nationwide in almost every area of law that we provide services for the month of July. Well, I just had a friend who just got back from Europe. He said it was insane. There were so many people in Europe, and most of them were Americans, and the light bulb went off. I'm like, oh my God. Post-COVID, we're 3 years post-COVID, right? Some states, some states are really just 1 year out of COVID. Right. Everybody's like taking a vacation. And the flip side of, well, why are they in Europe? Well, because there's deals to be had in Europe because their tourism dropped. So what they're trying to do is get people there to spend money to facilitate their economy, right? So that's why you're seeing fewer car accident cases. That's why you're seeing fewer divorce people on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to lead to a dip in search volume. And the other thing that's out of our control is obviously we're in hyper competitive markets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're in hyper competitive markets, depending on who my client's competition has hired, who is in essence my competition, how good or bad they are. And in some cases, I like to describe it. Look, we're in a fist fight every day. There's 3 spots on the map.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
The map's going to generate on average about 65% of all the conversions. So I like to say, oh, gee, you're in Atlanta. How many personal injury attorneys are in Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
1,000. Well, there's 3 spots in the map, right?
Right.
So,
Right. But what about like client communication though?
okay,
So
that's great.
talk to me about the client communication, that relationship.
It's a great question. So each client has a dedicated client success manager.
Mm-hmm.
And the cadence of the meetings after the first 90-day period is usually once a month. Sometimes we'll do them every 2 weeks, depending on the client and their needs. But generally, there's a once a month meeting checking in. And then I like to have a strategic planning meeting with them at the very minimum once a year. Sometimes it's twice a year. So I have some clients now contacting me because they're doing so well. So it seems like every 2 or 3 months. Okay, Josh, you're right. This is working. What else you got?
Right. Okay.
So the cadence generally is with the client success manager. And that's going to be once a month. But there's a lot of interaction and communication in the first 90 days, like a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's really good. Okay. So what about the part that you're doing an awesome job? You're getting the leads right where they want them. But then what? So what happens when the law firm is like, well, we're not converting?
I introduce them to you.
but what do you
No,
do? I mean, that happens all the time, doesn't it? Doesn't it happen all the time?
Yeah. So part of my process is I have a discovery call before I go into a strategic planning session with every potential client. One of the questions I ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, would you rate your intake process? I usually get a 7 or 8. When my team goes in, right, you're laughing because when my team starts to evaluate what they're doing, it's going to be a 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Right. So the follow-up questions that I ask as part of my discovery: are you recording your calls? Do you have an inbound call tracking system? Are you listening to recordings? Do you have ghost callers come in? Right. So I need to know this information and know how good or bad they are. And we record every call that we're responsible for.
Okay.
So then my team is actually listening to the calls to see how good or bad they are. And then we're saying, hey, you got to listen to this call. And and we've shared this before, some of the ridiculous comments that the intake person who's probably definitely not trained properly, or is really a receptionist, and they haven't, the law firm hasn't realized it's really a sales position. Intake is really a sales position. So, here's an example. You're probably too far to come in to our office. You probably should call somebody else. Well, who's that person to determine how far I want to drive to go to a family law office, right? Maybe they called you because I put you in a category of 1.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the best thing, I think we've talked about this before, and actually recently, is just for the managing partners and the intake team to be part of the same conversations with you. So everybody knows we're on the same page, and everybody knows that we're trying to improve our bottom line. But if they just keep focusing on the marketing part and not also the intake part, it's like pushing a boulder up the mountain over and over again, right?
So the easy thought process is this. It's a funnel, Josh. You told me it was a funnel. So the more I put in the top, the more that's going to come out of the bottom.
I know. Yep.
Right. The problem with that is that increases your customer acquisition cost. And I want to drive your customer acquisition cost down to the lowest possible number we can. And the way to do, we have ways we can do it on our side, but the way you can do it on the attorney side is better conversions of clients. Right? So oftentimes, and by the way, I have clients all over the map, from a 10% conversion rate to some of them say 100%. I don't really believe that.
Yeah,
if you have a
right.
100% conversion rate, you don't have enough leads, right?
Right.
So even at 95%, I would believe that in some cases. So depending on how good their marketing is and how good they are, right? So
Yeah.
I want to say one other thing about one of the things that makes us different.
Right.
And I've been working really hard with our team on this, and this continues to be a mission of mine. And that's one word, and it's empathy. So let's put ourselves in the seats of the attorneys who probably don't know a lot about marketing. Maybe they've got a marketing person working for them, and that person, maybe it's a part-time fractional CMO who's an analog or traditional type marketer and really doesn't understand. I've seen that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Empathy is, let's just say the number that the attorney is spending is a $5,000 a month management fee, and they've got a $5,000 a month click budget on Google for pay-per-click.
Mm-hmm.
They're spending $120,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
They're frustrated because they're not converting.
Right.
But where's the empathy? Even though it's not our fault, it still becomes our problem, right? Where's the empathy on our side? So we are empathetic, but I want us to be more empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to hold the hand. I really want us to help them understand, hey, Google just, you got 20% fewer calls last month, and they want to know why. Well, Google just made an algorithm update. It's not our fault. No, that's not how we approach it. Let's take a look and let's do a layover graph of the incoming calls, and oh, look, your rankings dropped. And here's the documentation from search engine land. I'm pretty sure they're not reading search engine land like I am.
No.
Right? Every morning you have coffee, right? So here's what search engine land said. And again, when you're dealing with something as simple as a Google algo update, it is, they don't tell you when, they don't tell you what to do, right? So it's just kind of, you get blindsided. All of a sudden, everybody's rankings dropped. Oh my God, there was an update. What do we need to do to adjust? And the adjustment period could take 2 weeks. It could take 2 days. It could take 6 weeks. We don't know. So did that answer your question? I know I'm going down these.
No, you did. You did answer the question. I got it. But and I'm going to ask you one more question, and then you could think anything else that you want people to know that you let them know. But let me just ask you this one more question. What about you? Like, how did you get involved in all this?
Oh, it's a great question. So go back to 2010, 2009, 10, 11. We all know what happened. Right? And so basically I lost everything and had to start over. And so a friend of mine who's now one of the partners here called me up. He's got a degree in aerospace engineering from Embry-Riddle. He's a rocket scientist, right? So even though we don't need one, we got one, right?
You got one anyway, right?
So him and I have been longtime friends, and I want you to go back all the way to like 2011. Think of search engine results page. It was all metadata, right? Lycos, Alta Vista, Yahoo was the king, right? It was all metadata. And Google introduced this map, and the map had 7 pins, right? Back then.
Okay.
So I want to say it was called Google Places back then. It was so he calls me up and he says, "Are you making any money?" It's 2011. Nobody's making any money, right? We're like almost in a depression. He says, "Well, when you search Google, you get that map now." I said, "Yeah, I noticed sometimes I get that, sometimes I don't." He says, "Well, that has to do with commercial intent. If the Google algorithm thinks that you have an intent for commerce, you're going to get a map." Oh, okay, that makes sense. He said, "Well, I just spent the last 6 months and I cracked the code." Like, what do you mean you cracked the code? Now, remember, he's got a degree in aerospace engineering. So I'm picturing him with a giant whiteboard, right? Figuring out.
Right, exactly.
You crack the code. And is that legal?
Yeah, right. Right.
He said, yes. Yeah, all I did was figure out what it takes to get on the map. Like for how I think that there's a real opportunity here for businesses that this is going to be really valuable advertising or marketing space, even though it's not really an advertising model because you don't have to pay for the click.
Right.
But I know what it takes to get there, but I don't know how to package it. I don't know how to market, and I don't know how to sell it. And you're the best guy I know to do that. So if you want, we can start a business. And I said, okay. I said, so tell me what you're envisioning. He said, well, I'm going to show you all the technical components to get onto the map. And I started to laugh because I'm a visionary, right? We do EOS here. I'm the visionary. I'm a sales and marketing. I actually work with our ads team, especially on Facebook and Instagram ads. I work where I can because I'm a creative. So I come from a family of artists, and not to go down that rabbit hole, but I'm more on the creative side. I said, I don't think that I'm the guy to do that, but I know a guy. So I called my other friend up who's got a degree in audio engineering. And I said, hey man, are you making any money? He's like, no, 2011, nobody's making any money. I said, well, listen, I've got this other friend, you've never met him. I put them together. And so we said, you know what, let's try this. First phone call went to my divorce attorney, as I said earlier, went and met her, boom, 5 weeks later, whatever it was, 6 weeks later, she was on the map. And so we were in business.
Right. Awesome. Right.
Now it doesn't take 5 or 6 weeks anymore to get on the map because it's more competitive. So that's how we got started. That was the genesis of the whole thing.
So what do you love about it? What do you love about what you do, Josh?
So I love to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to have positive impact. This is my why. I want to have positive impact on other people's lives. Mm-hmm. And that impact grows exponentially when you think about it this way. And I'll tell you another personal story that relates to having impact. So the impact is, if I can help law firms help more people, the law firm has more, and almost every attorney, when I ask, what does it mean to you, and what does it mean to your law firm, and what does it mean to your personal life, and if I can help you achieve your goals in the next 24 months. And it's all quality of life for them and their team. So that means my impact is not only for the law firm and the partners, but also their team and their families, and then them helping their clients and their families, right? So that impact grows exponentially. So the charity that I'm involved with is called Kids Sanctuary Campus, and
say the name again. What is it?
Kids Sanctuary Campus.
Okay.
KIDS. The S, there's only one S. Kids Sanctuary Campus, and that is for abandoned, neglected, and abused children in Palm Beach County, Florida. Not to go down that rabbit hole, but here's the deal. My mother, I was the youngest of 4. When I went off to college, my mother decided to foster children. So she became a foster mother. So she was able to impact the lives of 4 children at a time. That's all she did. So I'm involved with a group that is helping hundreds and hundreds and I've helped them raise tens of millions of dollars to help children who are so rather than them going into the foster situation, and we're learning more and more about how corrupt that system is every day. Now they are in a safe place, right? That is, I don't want to say it's monitored by the county, but they are in safe homes, and there's 4 homes. They can house up to 24 children at any one given time. And the rollover since I've been involved, and I want to say I'm in my 8th year, there's hundreds of children's lives I've been able to help positively impact, most of whom I've never even met.
Amazing. So that you just made me think about something too. My grandmother, who I've been thinking about a lot of lately, she died when she was 95, and she fostered 100 children. That long, I mean, that was for back then, that was huge. That was really huge.
Amazing.
Yeah, 100 children. And how are your kids? You got custody of your kids. How are your kids these days? Good?
My kids are great. My daughter is a flight attendant for American Airlines. She travels the world. Like when she's not on a flight, she's in somewhere in Europe or South America. She has her favorite spots. And my son is he's doing great. He is right now. He actually just got back from 6 weeks in Israel, and he's thinking about. He's 23. He's probably going to be playing some semi-pro hockey this year. He's right there on the cusp. Think of it like single A baseball. And as I said to him, look, you're 23. So what? It's only $500 a week. You're 23. You're getting paid to play hockey, right? What could be better? So
unbelievable.
Yeah, great. But thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I lied. I have one more question. What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night is improvements. How can we be better? So you lay in bed, it's almost like I'm turning over rocks, right? Turning over, like, what did we miss? What didn't we do? What could we do better? Right? And having just better systems to provide better fulfillment and better services. And the other thing is the ever evolving digital landscape, right? So if I would have told you 3 years ago, TikTok's going to be a good source of referrals for attorneys, would you believe me? Probably not.
No.
Exactly, probably not, right? So, and I'm not saying it's a great source, but I do have clients that are getting leads from TikTok. I look at it as a secondary form, right?
Mhm.
And I have 3 levels that I look at from that. So it's the ever changing digital landscape that we're all faced with.
Wonderful. All right. Well, is there anything else that you think everybody should know before we say goodbye?
Well, I'll just say this, that if you want to be the best known attorney in your market, first of all, go to Amazon. You can get the book, right?
Right.
From
Yep.
Marketing Agency. Then that'll give you a real good base understanding of digital marketing. But don't just do something. It has to be strategic. And so most agencies, if you're talking to other agencies, and I recommend it, but they're going to talk about tactics, right? They're going to talk about, you need SEO, you need social media, you need paid. It's strategic. So align yourself with someone who has a strategic approach to digital marketing, and you're going to do better. So, and be realistic. You're not going to go from 1 million to 10 million. You're not going to go from 500,000 to 5 million overnight. You got to be realistic.
Right. And be willing to do the work. You've got to be an implementer, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
How can folks get in touch with you?
So www.lawfirmmarketingpros.com. Best way to do it is when you get to our homepage, there's going to be a pop-up about the book. You can order it there or click through. Then there's going to be a lead gen box, which basically says if you want more leads, request a call. And those come in almost daily for me. And it's just an introductory. It's interesting. I just had a call come in that I couldn't help the person for a couple different reasons, and I referred him to someone else who just signed them up. So even if you contact me through that and I can't help you, I'll figure out a way to help, because I want to have impact. Right. I want to help.
Right. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Josh. It's been a pleasure.
Chris, thanks so much for having me. You are just such a gem in this industry to be able to do what you do for everyone. I can't tell you how much I respect and appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Lawyers Tell All. We'll see you again real soon. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Lawyers Tell All, where Chris Mullins takes you on a journey with lawyers in the trenches who show you the realities of what it takes to succeed in this chaotic, crowded, ever-changing profession. Remember to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on Lawyers Tell All.